Hello and welcome back to the Quickcrop garden. Well, it's coming towards the end of October now and it's starting to get pretty cold, so you might think this is an odd time of year to be talking about garlic. Yes, garlic is harvested in the summertime when it's nice and warm, but actually autumn, winter, early spring, it's the best time to put it in. Now the reason for this is that garlic needs at least 2 months of temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius for the single clove that you plant to form a bulb made up of numerous cloves. If you plant your garlic a little bit late in the spring when it's warmed up a bit, it will grow, but the single clove that you plant will just grow a larger clove, a little bit like this large elephant garlic clove here. We've got a really nice mix of garlic here today from the elephant garlic. We've got some lovely early purple here, some big juicy Provence and really flavoursome Iberian here. It's a really nice selection. I'm going to bring you over to my beds now and I'm going to show you how to get planted up. Now, if you are planting garlic in the autumn or in the winter, you have to make sure that your soil is well drained. Now, I'm growing in raised beds here because my garden is a little bit on the wet side, and the raised beds raise up the soil and improve the drainage. If you have a heavy clay soil that's prone to waterlogging in the winter and you don't want to build raised beds, you can also start your garlic in modular trays like these, which then can be planted out again in the spring. If you're going to grow in modular trays, use a good quality multi-purpose compost. In this case, I'm using Living Green, which is actually a worm cast compost because it's very good for root development. All I'm doing is poking a clove into each module in the modular trays, and I'm using these 10-cell modules because it's a really handy size. Now, you can leave them outside when you're finished, but if frost is forecast, you need to bring them inside into an unheated greenhouse or cold frame because the modules are likely to freeze. But today we're planting out in the garden, so let's have a quick look at the soil conditions in my raised beds. The quality of the soil in the bed I'm going to use today is pretty good, and garlic just needs a fairly fertile soil, so no need to add any manure or anything high in nitrogen like that, unless the manure is very well rotted. Now, one thing that your garlic is going to like is potassium or potash. Now, I burn wood in my stoves and fireplaces at home, and wood ash, now make sure it's wood ash, not coal or peat ash, but wood ash is naturally high in potassium, so I'm going to be sprinkling a little bit on the surface of my beds and raking it in. The other thing that your garlic is really going to thank you for is an application of a good quality garden compost. Now today I'm going to be using our EnviroGrind, really because I've had such great success with it, using it for garlic or onions over the years. You can see it's a lovely crumbly consistency, so properly composted. It's a mix of composted green material, but then also composted fish and shellfish waste, and it makes a really good soil improver. So just like our potash here, I'm going to be sprinkling that on the surface. I'm going to be putting the EnviroGrind on about a bucket per square metre and just raking it into the first few inches of the soil. So now we come to explaining the title of this video, which is Growing Weed-Free Garlic, and I'm going to introduce you to our Grow Grid planting mats. The problem that we have is that plants like garlic and onions have so little foliage that they allow light in through the crop, which allows weeds to grow. They also have shallow root systems, making them difficult to hoe in between. Now, the reason that I like these Grow Grid mats is the mat smothers out the light, so it stops the weeds from growing, but they also have pre-punched planting holes, which are in the correct distances for planting garlic, making it really easy to put in your crop. The Grow Grid mats are also reusable. This one, I think this is the 4th year I've been using this one, and apart from being a little bit grubby, it's still in perfect condition. I think you can see the beauty of it now as well. All my planting holes are clearly marked out, making my next job of putting in the garlic cloves so easy. I'm going to grow a variety of different garlics here today. There's subtle differences in sweetness or strength of flavour. As a rule of thumb, your hardneck varieties like this Lautrec here would be much stronger and more pungent and generally very sought after in cooking. But most people would grow the softnecks because they tend to be a larger bulb and they store better. The spacing for growing them is more or less the same. It's 18 centimeters all round, which is exactly what we have here in the grid. So they can all go in together. The only exception really are these very large cloves of what's called elephant garlic, and they grow a massive bulb, but that needs a much wider spacing. So not so suitable for this mat. They're better planted at their own at a spacing of about 30 centimeters all the way around. The first thing we need to do is break open the bulb to separate out the cloves. Now you're best doing this just before you're ready to plant. Use the hardest, fattest cloves from around the outside of the bulb and avoid any that look soft or damaged. I also don't bother using the skinny ones from the centre of the bulb, as they will grow smaller garlic. To plant the cloves, we just have to make sure that they're the right way up first. So the flat bottom end, that goes down, that's the root end, and then the pointy end sticks up. I suppose it's kind of obvious really. And we literally just poke that in the hole, make a hole with your finger, and we put it in, and we're burying it, I suppose, with about an inch of soil on top of the clove. This is where good soil preparation really pays off, making it quick and easy to plant with your fingers. Now, you might get confused with cloves with a blunt end like this one. Just remember the bottom always has a flat piece as if it's been chopped off. Don't worry, you'll soon get used to recognizing which is which. Now, here is a grow grid mat that I planted up earlier in the autumn, I suppose maybe about 4 weeks ago, and even now I'm not seeing any shoots coming up yet. Now, depending on when you put your garlic in, you may not see any shoots even till the springtime, so no need to panic. If you are a little bit concerned, what you can do is, I'm just going to dig down with my fingers here, and I can feel one of the cloves, and if I just give it the gentlest of tugs, I can feel there's resistance there, so I know the roots are growing into the soil and my garlic is fine. As regards maintenance, there's very little to do. I suppose that's the beauty of the grow grid. Just remove any weeds that might be growing up through the planting hole. There's going to be very little over the winter anyway. Come the springtime, when the garlic grows and starts to bulk up, it'll tend to fill the hole, so we'll drown out any weeds. So pretty much nothing to do till you harvest late in the summertime. Okay, well that's about it. Now, if you play your cards right, this is the sort of thing that you should end up with at the end of the season. That's next summer. These are this summer's garlic that I've platted ready for storage. We've used some of them today, which are going to be next summer's garlic plants, but this little lot I'm going to hang up in a dry, frost-free shed and pick from them as and when I need them to add the most fantastic flavours to my cooking. As always, everything you see in this video, apart from me, they're available on our websites quickcrop.ie and quickcrop.co.uk, along with any help and advice that you might need. Please feel free to contact us. Happy growing, everyone.